All right. Hey, everybody. This is Rob Warfield with Cyberbacker Carolinas. I have joining us today Mr. Chris Haro. And Chris, thank you so much for being here. And Chris is going to share his experience with his Cyberbacker. So Chris, so we can get to know you a little bit better, would you tell us what market you're in, how long you've been in real estate, and what did you do before real estate?
Yeah, of course. And thank you, Rob, for the opportunity to talk with you. I have been in real estate for a little over 11 years now, all in the Hilton Head, Bluffton, Beaufort, South Carolina, Low Country market. Before I was a licensed agent, I did the marketing for agents. I was the photo guy, the video guy, and that's how I got in.
Neat. That's really neat. And Chris, if you feel comfortable sharing, would you mind just kind of sharing your volume last year and your units sold?
Yeah, sure. So last year, it was about 9 million in volume with about 21 clients.
Okay, excellent. And Chris, what is your Cyberbacker's name?
My Cyberbacker's name is Alvin.
Alvin. Okay, excellent. And then, so Chris, before hiring a Cyberbacker, had you ever worked with any virtual assistants before?
I had not worked with any virtual assistants before. I had interviewed virtual assistants. I had come very close to signing up and getting some virtual help. I also interviewed a lot of in-person assistants, but never worked with any. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. All right. And so basically, I wanted to ask, so since hiring a Cyberbacker, how has that impacted your business? What are some things that you've changed in your business?
It's impacted the business in a lot of ways. It's also impacted my life in a lot of ways. A lot of the small day-to-day things that seem small in the day-to-day, but really were eating up a lot of my time, were taken off my plate for good. That's, I guess, the one umbrella, thing that was such a revelation to me was what a difference not having to do so many of the tasks, and to have help with a lot of the tasks. Some of the tasks I still do, 80% of it is handled by the Cyberbacker.
That's fantastic. So you handed some things off, and then you've had extra time freedom, basically. So have you found you're able to do, fill that with more things? What did you kind of filled your time freedom with?
Yeah, I now spend a lot more time with my family. I have a lot more time to be out in the community. I started doing Cyberbacker during COVID. There was a lot of other things to keep in mind and to navigate. So I was able to really, be at more events and participate in more activities. And now things are loosening up a little bit. There's even more stuff, sports stuff and kids activities that honestly I really wasn't as present for before Cyberbacker.
I love that. That's fantastic to hear. So what type of tasks are you having your Cyberbacker do for you?
It's really 3 buckets. The Cyberbacker role, there's obviously there's a lot of different types of Cyberbackers. Alvin, though, what he does and has done from the get-go so well is transaction support, number one. So making sure all the papers are where they need to be and they're all signed. Things that are really important in the actual bulletproofing of a deal. Transaction support is number one. Listing support as well. Our sellers. My compulsion to add or really bring a high level of service always knocked up against the ceiling of my own bandwidth. So that was a really exciting thing, to have this guy who was as much of a go-getter and really hungry to deliver that experience. He's taken on a lot of the listing support for the sellers, and also we've added a lot of touches in there just to make sure that the service is and the experience is what the sellers deserve. So transaction listing and database management. That's the other thing.
Okay.
So all of our people, again, I don't think I realized it before. Now though, having Alvin, it's like, oh man, there's so many more ways to help people and stay in people's lives and just stay in touch with people who may not be buying or selling with us right now.
Right.
That database management piece has been probably the biggest area of growth for my business.
All right, man, love that. I love to hear that. Yeah, and
That's
we're
a long
hearing
answer.
that a lot.
Sorry. I was like,
No, that's perfect, and that we're
Yeah.
hearing that over and over. It's really like it's
Yeah.
going back almost to the basics and having people dig into the database and just find the information so that it can be basically used to help your clients more and stay in touch with them more and all sorts of things.
I think, yeah, I mean, it is, in a sense, it is going back to the basics. The kind of humbling thing, though, is that my original understanding of the basics, realizing how many things I didn't even really implement or think I could because of my assumption about bandwidth, And now with Alvin, it's like reevaluating the basics, I guess. It's like, no, we can do all kinds of other things here that can effectively bring more value to both the transaction and the people who are between transactions. It's pretty cool.
I love that. Yeah, that's the idea. Bring more value to our people. I love that. And so how did you decide, I'm sorry, how do you communicate with your cyberbacker on a daily basis?
That's the other cool thing. Well, mostly through text, chat. That's really our jam. He's other than my family who's under the same roof with me, he's the first person I talk to every day, and then he's the last. We sign off at night, so it's mainly through text. We do have some video screen time, but he is he's really a self-starter and really a great independent worker that it really boils out to the list of stuff we got to knock out and the stuff we did. And that's kind of a cool part of almost every day we have that list. It's just a text like, hey, here's what we did, and here's what's left,
Yeah. So I love that. My cyberbacker's name is Ria, and we have the same thing. It's text and kind of back and forth, a little email. I share my screen sometimes and just kind of show her some things that I want done. And it's great. It's really, like you said, it's kind of they're self-starting and doing what she needs to do and tells me what she's done. So it works really well.
Yeah. The thing that cracks me up. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
The thing that cracks me up too is sometimes I'll just text like, hey, I got nothing for you. Like we have we can take a breath, invariably the text I send or the chat string I throw over like, oh no, we're good, sit tight, we're cool. Invariably, like Murphy's Law, I've stopped saying, oh, nothing all day or whatever. Because invariably when I send that text of like, oh, nothing right now, it's like boom, boom, boom. like three things hit I can then just, and he's still there obviously. So, remember that thing where I said, 5 minutes ago, there was nothing. Yeah. There's these three things that just came up, could you handle this? Yep, totally.
I love that. Yep.
So that roller coaster of, rushing everywhere to put out fires or whatever. It's really cool how that is muted, a little bit by the whole chat thread.
Yeah, I love that. So, Chris, if somebody's on the fence about hiring a cyberbacker, what would you say to them?
I was on the fence about hiring a cyberbacker. I would say there's a lot you don't know about what your business could be, and obviously there's a bunch of different ways to do this business wonderfully, a lot of variety. and so many of the other people I've talked to who have cyberbackers, that's the common thread is like, oh, well, I have this business totally different from yours. And still, I wasn't aware till I got going how much more of my kind of business I could have. Short answer then, I guess what I would say to them is, test drive it, take it for a spin, because we did a 30, 60, 90, right? We had very clear expectations about, we know this will be successful in 90 days if, and it was awesome because with the training they get, and everything else in this program, it was never in doubt. There was time put in and a lot of focus put in on the expectations, and from there, I mean, you have a partner in whatever business you want to have. I haven't found, I just think that's incredibly cool. So I would say just give it a shot. 30, 60, 90 days, you can do that.
Yep. Yeah, and we have a 90-day trial. So like you said, take it for a test ride, see if it works. It may work for you, it may not, but you get a 90-day trial, and if not, no harm, no foul. And so
can I give you? I'm sorry. You can tell me, like, if this is going too much, but I think this is an example I've given to more than one person who's asked me that same question. When they're thinking about hiring a cyberbacker, from the get-go, I've had a full-time cyberbacker. That's not the only option. Obviously, you can do part-time and different things. For me, though, I really wanted to put the pedal down to see, how much more of the kind of business and life I wanted I could have. And going into it, I thought, well, at least, if I don't have the volume or size of business to fill a whole week, at least there'll be like a couple days off, where I won't have to like create work, because I hate, work for work's sake and busyness that just like annoys me. And I didn't want to be that guy, the generator of busyness. So I was like, well, at least the cyberback will have a couple days, where they'll have time off. So we can really make the most of the work day. Well, it went from being like, oh, thank goodness they'll have the day off, to now when those days happen, and it happened very quick. I've been in this for over a year. This happened very quickly. I would say within 4 months, I was already so accustomed to all the help that in the morning I'd be texting Alvin, and it'd be this shock of horror of, oh no, it's his day off. I don't have to help. So what I perceived at the start as being the horror of, how am I going to find stuff for this guy to do, quickly became, oh no, I don't have him today. So
I need help.
yeah. So that, I guess, is for me the example of what I was saying earlier. It's like you don't even realize it, because once you get into a flow of this and you get a relative amount of competency and business activity, you're kind of in it, right? You're not always, though, aware of how much less you can be doing, and that the work, the days off for me were the huge discovery on that. Because, oh man, the night before Alvin's day off, I'm like, oh no. And almost always there's a list that I have to self-soothe, the time when he's off that day, I'm putting a list together for the next day.
Right.
So that list, I think, for all of us, I mean, it's not unique to real estate either. I mean, there's that list of the other stuff that you need to get done that doesn't necessarily have to be done by you. That's just out there, whether you have a cyberbacker or not. And having somebody like Alvin, to pop up in the morning and be like, yeah, got it, thumbs up, let's go. Then I can go on the appointment. I can field the negotiating call. I can do all the lead generation stuff that I really should be doing it instead. So that's
right.
The days off for me are like weird. It's weird.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. That's going to resonate with people for sure. So one last wrap-up question is, were you aware that we have a reward program if basically if somebody if you in this video, or we're introducing somebody to Cyberbacker and they know you, they can basically mention you as their referral person, and that you can get a reward for that. Were you aware of that?
That's awesome. I think I'd heard something about that, but I forgot about that. So that's really
Great.
cool. No, that's great to hear.
So basically, what I want to say was, if anybody out there, knows Chris,
Yeah,
and you're thinking of Cyberbacker, do Chris a favor, mention your name when they call in, or they ask you, and Chris will get a reward for that. Actually, for as long as you have a Cyberbacker, Chris will get a reward. So
that's incredible. I appreciate that, but also, like, seriously, if anybody has any other questions, follow-up questions, just I'm on the internet. I mean, you text me or call me. I'm happy to talk more about it.
Appreciate that. That's wonderful. Remember Chris also for referrals down at Hilton Head. I'm sure he'll always accept those from you. But Chris, we really wanted to thank you for being, number one, being a part of the Cyberbacker family, and number two, thank you for sharing your time today. We really appreciate it.
Oh, same here, Rob. Really, it was fun, and enjoyed talking with you.
Okay. Thank you, Chris. Take care.
See ya.